What is Ladakh's unfinished struggle? Why Ladakh is demanding statehood as well as sixth schedule? What are the changes that the government is doing and how this fight for autonomy and identity will end up? Ladakh has been simmering with unrest for a while now. The Sonam Wangchuk hunger strike is going to enter the second week, and this is showing that Ladakh is standing strong for its constitutional safeguards. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and today we are going to understand that what has been happening in Ladakh, why it has been happening there, and also what is being done that can address the given situation. So when we talk about the situation at hand, we have to understand that why is the demand or why is the unrest in the given place. So let us start with understanding that. So if we talk about what exactly is going on there, the first thing that needs to be understood is the fact that when we are talking about 2019 reorganization, during that very time, Ladakh, which was part of Jammu and Kashmir state, got a separate identity as a union territory. But the important point here is that it became a union territory without legislature. Whereas Jammu and Kashmir got a legislature, that means they had a legislative body to themselves for their decision, but here Ladakh did not get that. At the same time, because Article 370 was abrogated, we also saw that with Article 370 gone, the local protection they had or the local control of land, resources, properties that was seen, that was also taken away from Ladakhis. Now, once both of these situations left them in a place where they do not have a law-making body of their own, and the local control that they have had, that was also taken away. And that is the reason that they are sitting and simmering in terms of unrest when we are talking about that is for the demand of statehood. They want to be recognized as a state, they want to have a legislature of their own so that they can see their region to grow. They can address the concerns of their region and they have autonomy as well as some identity. So this whole fight is about autonomy and identity that Ladakh region is looking for. One important key point here that you will see in this unrest is peculiar in its ways. It has remained apolitical and it continues to do so. It believes in dialogue, at the same time coming ahead and getting together in terms of protests as well for their own rights. So this protest has also seen another unique thing where two major regions of Ladakh, that is Leh and Kargil, Leh which is Buddhist dominated, and when we have Kargil, it has a Muslim majority region. Both of these regions have come together despite their differences and they have united together to demand the constitutional safeguards that they should have. Now moving from here, now that we have understood the background to this particular story, now let us understand that what this unrest is all about. This unrest is much more than just a demand for statehood. Basically, this unrest also comes from a democratic deficit that lies in front of them. They have no legislative assembly, that means no elected representatives are present for them. Basically, central government is going to make decisions for them and there is no local representation that is available for them. When we are talking about unfulfilled promises as well, 6th schedule status was pledged to Ladakh, but it has not been delivered and that leads to erosion of trust as well. Apart from these, there is a huge concern of perceived marginalization that is seen ki the development that is happening in Ladakh, locals are being excluded from that development. They have no voice in the decision making and also the economic benefits that will come from the development that are also not being shared with the local. Apart from that, apart from the democratic deficit, the marginalization that is in front of them, they are also getting to see ecological concerns where they are finding that fragile Himalayan environmental project is not being given the due respect that it requires, not in terms of just spirit, but also the fragility that it has. That means the infrastructure projects, the planning that is taking place, it is impacting nature big time. It is causing water scarcity, water pollution, air pollution in the fragile Himalayan region itself. And all of this is coupled with the identity concern that lies in front of them, that is the fear of cultural erosion, that their culture that exists in that very specific region is going to be eroded. They will not have a distinct tradition that lies in front of them, and the outsiders, which are the focal point of development, which are getting the economic benefits of development, they will be the ones who will be dominating this place, and the erosion will not be only just in terms of culture, it will go to language also, heritage also. Basically, they are worried about not just the democratic deficit, but the identity lost that they are seeing in coming days. And that is why they are demanding four very important and clear things. First, they are looking for a statehood. They are demanding that they should be a state, or even if the union territory status is continued, they want a union territory with legislature. That means they want to be part of the decision making that what happens in that particular region. Another thing, 6th schedule. This is the one of the most focused demands, because 6th schedule has been pledged to them, but it has not been delivered. They are demanding to be included in 6th schedule. When we talk about the 6th schedule of Indian Constitution, it gives limited autonomy in tribal areas in 4 specific northeastern states, that is Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya and Mizoram. In these states, ADCs are established, that is autonomous district councils, which have legislative power, judicial power as well as executive powers. So for the protection of tribes, this status is also being demanded, that the tribal areas get ADCs, they get recognition, they get the protection that comes with this particular schedule. Another key demand is the job reservation for locals, so that locals are also part of the benefit that is going to come with the development that is being expected in the region. And fourth, and another important point here, is 2 parliamentary seats. As of now, Ladakh only has 1 seat in Lok Sabha. Now they are looking to have 2 seats, one from the Leh region and other for the Kargil region, so that the region-specific concerns can be taken up to the parliament by their own representatives. And it is not just about representation, it is about balanced representation, so that both of the major districts get to be represented in the parliament itself. Now, when we are talking about the key demands, let us look into the steps that have been taken by the government. The government has announced job reservation rules in this very year, where 85% of jobs will be reserved for locals. If we talk about women participation, that has also been focused upon, where 1/3 of the seats have been reserved for women participation. In Hill Development Council, there has been a special high-powered committee which has been set up by Ministry of Home Affairs, so that dialogue can take place with Leh and Kargil leaders both. Now, this is another conflict point, because the actions by high-powered committee are being said that they are unilateral to a certain extent. That has also been highlighted. But the whole issue that remains is that there is no finality to the resolution in front of us. There is no clarity either on statehood or 6th schedule that has been the main ask of the unrest that we see in Ladakh. Apart from that, when we are talking in this detail, another key component that we need to understand, that this resolution is not as easy as it seems. Being demanded is one thing, how much it can be fulfilled, understanding that is also an important part here. So when we are talking about resolution, there are certain key challenges present to it. Let us talk about them. The first challenge is the legal and institutional complexity. So when we are talking especially about 6th schedule, which is main demand of this whole protest, you have to understand in this scenario, in the constitution itself, the schedule talks about 4 specific states, and changing that and bringing Ladakh in there will require major changes. So when we are talking about constitutional amendment, can you tell me in the comment section which article is responsible for it and how many types of amendment, if you talk about how many types of majorities are required in the amendment. Now this kind of amendment will require major changes to this very idea, and that remains a complex issue. Other than that, we also have the idea of balancing Leh and Kargil interest. That is something that needs to be understood in great detail, because the religious, cultural as well as economic concerns of both these districts are very different. So balancing them would be a difficult task. Then we have the implementation gap. So when we are talking about the job reservation rule that has been brought out, the problem with that is that it still lacks clarity. We need more and better clarity. So if actually we want the people of Ladakh to understand that it has been given for their advantages itself. And then we also have the issue of political consensus. When we are talking about a UT that is under the direct central bureaucracy and central control, and the local bodies which are present, if the consensus is not there, they are not on the same page, it is very difficult to deliver in terms of the aspects that are real and very much required. Now when we are talking about the demands that are being made, the question is if they will be met, and with the proper procedure they will set a precedent. But the question is, what if they are not met? The question is what kind of unrest this apolitical protest will turn into, and how this needs to be managed so that it does not turn into a political as well as a constitutional chaotic situation. Now the last important factor that I need to discuss with you is that the fact that Ladakh is a special scenario here. It is not just that we have to look at as union territory wise, we also have to consider that it has national and geopolitical strategic context as well. So when we are talking about Ladakh itself, it is a border state and it shares boundary with China and Pakistan, both of the neighbors which are not the best ones you would expect. LAC, and then we have Pakistan's boundary as well. So when we are talking about these regions, these need proper monitoring, and that is why center's presence is very important. Furthermore, when we are talking about geopolitical significance, the key factor here is the political discontent that we are seeing in this particular region. It directly weakens the internal unity that we are trying to project, especially at the frontier where we are facing Pakistan and China both. It will also affect our tourism and economy. That means it could hit the state's GDP and directly the national GDP as well. And beyond the economic effects, the one thing that India is known for is the unity in diversity. It could also affect that, where the actual issue is the cultural identity retention in this particular state, be it of Leh, be it of Kargil, or altogether Ladakh itself. Now, what do you think about this particular matter? Let me know in the comment section. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.